Happy Thanksgiving week, everyone. This episode of Mets Digest, we're talking about the signing the Mets did. Left-hander Genesis Cabrera is now going to be in the orange and blue. Plus, we break down that massive signing that happened overnight. Blake Snell headed over to the Dodgers. What does that mean for us as Mets fans? What's it mean for us as far as being in the NL East pecking order? We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Just got to say, hey, you are locked into Mets Digest, your one-stop shop for Mets content all around the planet. My name is Flobo Boyce, and it means the world to me that you rock with me here today. But do me a favor, if you're watching this right now, you're not part of the people who subscribe, hit that subscribe button, like the video, share the video with your friends. Myself, alongside Mike D'Angelo, work tirelessly to give the news you can use about the orange and blue. So please, like the video when you can. Before we get into the signing of Genesis Cabrera from the Toronto Blue Jays, let's talk about the signing that basically broke baseball as it is just a couple hours ago or over last night. Blake Snell, one of many pitchers that were on our fantasy GM boards for New York, has inked a 5-year, $182 million deal with the Dodgers. And of course, $62 million of that is deferred because it's the Dodgers. Like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? But that has sparked a lot of debate. Not necessarily about the free agent pool, because there are a lot of options out there. Jordan Montgomery is still pretty much going to be in the mix. Corbin Burns is still pretty much in the mix. But rather, the Dodgers going full Thanos mode, taking almost anyone of value to the squad. I know there's talk about salary caps and salary floors and cry harder and all that, but it just seemed kind of odd, at least to me, that the world champion Dodgers are going after someone like Snell. I get it from Snell's perspective, even though I didn't think the culture would have fit. Why not go into your Kevin Durant era and try to chase that ring? So as it is right now, even with the deferred payments, Blake Snell will be an absolute problem, and the Dodgers themselves will be an absolute problem. This year is from ESPN Los Angeles. Actually had a projected rotation for this team. They are basically the all-star team right now. They are the Monstars. You got Snell in there with Otani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Glasnow, and Gonsolin coming back from their various injuries. Don't forget Kershaw, even though he's old man Kershaw, is someone you don't necessarily bench. Bueller, I mean, is even Jack Flaherty going to be in the mix? It's enough for 2 rotations. And I know you're probably hearing me right now going, okay, Flobo, why do we care? Well, 2 things. One, the National League goes through Los Angeles, whether we like it or not. So if Blake Snell's going to be signed to the Dodgers, that the Mets are going to have to find a reason or an antidote to face him down the stretch of the season. But more importantly, I'm not really sure how true it is today in 2024, but when Steve Cohen bought the Mets team a couple years ago, there has been talk about being seen as the Dodgers of the East. And is this going to be the situation where it comes to, should we be as aggressive getting these free agents? I know David Stearns was really about letting our kids play and getting high value picks with upsides, but the Dodgers threw that out the window. Do we as a team follow suit? Interesting. Well, as it is right now, as of this recording, Corbin Burns still doesn't have a team. If Corbin Burns was going to be your theoretical example, would we throw all kinds of money at someone like that, or will we try to promote from within? That's the kind of thing I'm thinking about today with this massive sign, the first free agent to fall. It wasn't Soto, it wasn't Alonso, it was Blake Snell. I guess congrats to him. I'm not really sure how I should feel about that. But the Mets were not sleeping at the wheel, like I said before. Left-handed reliever Genesis Cabrera from as recently as the Toronto Blue Jays is heading over to Queens. This was announced a couple hours ago. Talking about one of these reclamation projects, talking about some of the upside picks. The real bullpen of the 2024 season was serviceable, but it was a patchwork job. I think now as we move on to 2025, we pretty much have to audition those who are going to be the ones we trust. This comes from MLB Trade Rumors, who had more details on the deal. It says, the Mets announced Wednesday they signed left-handed reliever Genesis Cabrera to a minor league contract with an invitation to Major League Spring Training. His 2024 season in Toronto featured a career low average velocity on his four-seamer. Well, we've been here before, right? Pitchers having bad years, down years, coming into the Mets fold a la Luis Severino. Though his 96 per hour average sinker is slightly up from his 2022-23 levels at the moment, the only left-handed pitcher on the Mets bullpen is Danny Young. That right there was interesting about how valuable lefties are. It's really cool. We're stocking that part up. Now, this is a minor league deal. This is also an invitation to spring training, so nothing's pretty much a lock yet. The 40-man roster is going to be in flux, but this goes back to the philosophies of what we're seeing and what we're doing as far as backfilling a lot of the high value or high upside picks. We're still waiting for the big free agent splash. We don't have an answer for Alonso. We don't have an answer for Soto. The outfield hasn't been set yet, probably because of the Soto situation, but it seems the pitching deal is going to be very much these high value, high upside reclamation project pitches, and so, or pitchers. And so it looks like we're kind of going with that philosophy we experimented with last year. I wanted to get the perspective of the Blue Jays side, so I went over to Blue Jays Nation to see their take on the deal. Cabrera's arsenal extends beyond one of a traditional relief pitcher, including 5 pitches. He possesses 3 fastballs, a 4-seamer, sinker, and cutter, as well as a curveball and a changeup. The Blue Jays elevated Cabrera's role as their primary lefty specialist following Temesa's departure last season. Now he will have a chance to earn a spot in a Mets bullpen that's already faced plenty of turnover behind all-star closer Edwin Diaz. Yes, lefties are valuable. Yes, there's a lot of holes to fill, but I want to actually ask you a question, dear viewer. How are you feeling about this? Like, we all know you can't really just sign 2 free agents and expect to go to the promised land. You need arms, you need bodies, you need people, you need to audition, you need some of the youth in there. But are you getting a little frustrated? As it is right now, as I'm recording this, it's one day before Thanksgiving. We really don't have a giant, splashy free agent signing, especially one that can throw. Are you kind of saying, in Stearns we trust still? Do you have some doubts? I'm willing to know what you think about the deal. As far as me right now, this right here, even though it is kind of the opposite of the Dodgers philosophy as it is right now, is super important and super valuable. The bullpen was one that, even if we did well, let's say we became world champions in 24, wasn't the case. It was a big question. When we won, it was, hey, the bullpen didn't implode. And when we lost, they were the first things discussed. You got to try new elements, even if it was working, and it clearly was not. But I wonder if these kind of picks are going to blow up in our faces. Sometimes you kind of want someone with a track record going in and not necessarily hope that we reclaim someone who's had a down year or a down process or losing velocity, but he's coming to New York. I'm a long-term fan. I've just seen that plenty of times where someone within their declining years and decide to wash up on the shores of Flushing. And that's just me. Maybe I'm thinking too little of the situation, but either way, I think it's a sneaky signing for a bunch of reasons. Cabrera, if we're able to reclaim, if we're able to work on the things, can be absolutely deadly, especially having a left-handed reliever with so many pitching options of up to 5 pitches. You only see that, especially in the leverage situations that Cabrera had. So this could be a Swiss Army knife if everything goes well, even though that is a big if. So, as we hit the end of the video, let me know what you think in the comments below. Genesis Cabrera, you are now a New York Met. You're going to be invited to spring training. You're going to vie for a chance for the 40-man roster and eventually the main roster next season. Stearns keeps on cooking. It's not even December yet. I want to know your thoughts. Let me know. As for the rest of you guys, I'll be back next time with myself alongside Mike D'Angelo for another edition of Mets Digest. And as always, until next time, it's LGM to the bitter end.